Good afternoon, everybody in beautiful Adelaide. My name is Kamran Imami. I'm from Iran and I'm the chairman of the working group of History of Irrigation, Drainage and Flood Control. I could not join you in this meeting due to personal reasons, and I should thank Professor Haide for accepting to chair the meeting. The most important task of this working group is finalizing a book on historical water sustainability. We have been working on this publication for the last decade, and we have 17 chapters, 2 from Netherlands, 2 from Iran, and other chapters from Indonesia, China, Malaysia, Germany, Japan, United Kingdom, Thailand, Italy, South Africa, India, Hungary, Korea, and a paper from a Swedish author and an Iranian author. This is a picture of the members of the working group. Many authors of the chapters are in these pictures. Hopefully, they are present at the meeting at Adelaide. For me, editing the chapters and drawing the conclusion was an amazing journey, from traces of China to the canals of Iran, to the Marib Dam in Yemen, to the water resources accomplishment of Netherlands, and water resource management in South Africa, historical dams in Iran, hydraulic structures of Thailand, and water management in Malaysia, and Japan, still Japan, and this is Kafara Dam, 4,600 years old in Egypt, aqueduct in Italy, Cabo Canal in Italy on 4 rivers, water management in Bali, and it was really an amazing journey. I should like to present the 17 papers. This is the first chapter on sustainable development and water resources from Dr. Bagheri and his lecturer from Sweden on general concept of water resources sustainability. Then we have a paper on sustainability of Chinese civilization and water conservation. Engineer Charles Aberity has prepared magnificent papers on roles of management in sustainability of irrigation system. And we have another chapter on history of irrigation in Thailand and its sustainability. Another chapter on canals of Iran, sustainable water supply systems. And it's a chapter by President Honorary Bart Schulz on Bilster, a drain lake that already proved to be sustainable for more than 400 years in Netherlands. A history of irrigation sustainability in Malaysia. historical water sustainability lessons to learn from Japan experiences, and we can learn a lot. This chapter is mainly focused on rice cultivation. This is my own paper on creative sustainability in the context of history, on a very creative scheme for a historical dam in Iran, which is functioning after more than 600 years of operation. The Grand Canal by late Antonio Linoli. It's a very magnificent project. 83 kilometer long canal constructed in 3 years. 160 years ago. 160 years ago. And it is the chapter on Indonesia, water story and sustainability in Indonesia by Dr. Garni. And Klaus Roscher has prepared a chapter on innovation and intuition in hydraulic engineering, a brief story of hydraulic engineering in Central Europe. And we have also a chapter on sustainable irrigation in South Africa, evidence from history, by Miss Lani van Boren. And it is the second chapter from Netherlands. Can the Dutch keep their polders dry? Impact of changes in land use and climate on water management and flood protection of the polders in Netherlands, by Dr. Bert Toussaint, who was secretary of this working group and president honorary Bart Schultz. And last year we received 3 more papers. It is the history of irrigation for sustainability in rice cultivation in Korea by Kim Joo Chang, and another paper from India, the history of development of irrigation in India, and finally we have another paper from Japan. Now we have a unique opportunity to have universal lessons from all these 17 chapters from different countries. Based on this paper, the pillars of water sustainability are people, natural resources, government, expertise, engineering, water wisdom, and financial investors. And if we use life cycle concept, we can strike a balance between sustainability in the long term and short-term financial benefits. Because if we involve financial investors, they can invest and construct water projects and use the benefits for the first few years. Then in the end, we can have also sustainable projects. Another lesson is that all the case studies indicates that we need to know people in extreme poverty can ensure sustainability. And the the Brown Land report state critical global environmental problems were primarily the result of enormous poverty of the South and the non-sustainable patterns of consumption and production in the North. We can observe the same thing from the historical case studies. So, no people in extreme poverty can ensure sustainability. And we have some intergenerational equity and responsibility. We have seen in the project that we should have fairness between within and between generations. Another point is uncertainties. Due to climate change and the nature of water engineering, we have substantial uncertainties. And to ensure sustainability in the context of uncertainty is not easy. We have to be adaptive. Characterized with uncertainties, changes, and complexity, the issues of sustainable development is considered as a dynamic process, which is evolving through a learning process, and not as any kind of optimum or end of state system. It is quite clear in the case study we have reviewed. Another point is ethics. When I was reading the chapter on Japanese, I showed the commitment of everybody in the community to long-term sustainability and prosperity of the community. It can be said science can show what probably is done. Technology can show what might be done. But ethics can help humankind decide what should be done. And another reason is that we can achieve the unthinkable. This is the Cavour Canal in Italy. As I mentioned, 83-kilometer long canal with 100 bridges and 200 siphons and 60 flumes, and it was constructed in 3 years, 160 years ago. This is the Koret Dam in Iran. It was constructed 650 years ago, and it was the highest dam in the world for more than 500 years. And they achieved this. It is located at the edge of a desert in Iran. And it is another masterpiece of water engineering in Iran. It is Bonabat Manab, 2,500 to 2,700 years old. It is 33 kilometers long. And the mother well is 300 meters deep. And still it is working. It's a legend among the Iranian canals. Okay, we can achieve the unthinkable, but it takes vision, collective action, audacity, fortitude, and adapting to the local conditions. Another point is, I mentioned government, people, and engineers are pillars of sustainability. And the time step of politicians are rather short compared to the time steps of engineers. But public can help help achieving the synergy combination of water engineers and politicians. In 1848 Constitution, the kings of Netherlands were forbidden in interfering in the technical aspects of projects. I think it was a very important step in achieving sustainability in many projects. I mentioned Correct Dam, and they constructed a new dam just upstream of the old dam, and it is empty. It was motivated by political agendas, and sometimes large capitals of government can be an opportunity or threat for sustainability of water projects. Then, in many projects, we have seen that there are quite a lot of investment on construction, but in operation, they lack the financial support. So, we should remember that an irrigation system may fail slowly rather than suddenly. Quite possibly gradual failure are more numerous than sudden ones. And from engineering ability, we have seen that construction of major dams 1 to 8 kilometer long happened in Sri Lanka, but they invest a lot on construction, but they didn't invest enough money on operation, and the dam failed. As I mentioned, the 12th century kings of Sri Lanka overstretched the budget, spending capital resources on too many big new projects for which the cost of maintenance would be excessive. And it is a common mistake in water engineering. And as I mentioned, we have intergenerational responsibility and equity. Present generation should give the next generation adaptable design. And then the next generation should use, update, monitor, redesign, learn while doing, and good management, so we can achieve the equity between generations. To be adaptive, monitoring is the key. These are some irrigation system in China, and there have been numerous changes of the inlet for some 800 years. Then we have 4 levels of management. Any irrigation system is sustained by good management. It needs proper performance of setup, process, governance, organization, operation, and maintenance. And the importance of transparency in maintaining this irrigation and water system is very high. And as I mentioned, creativity is a must when dealing with very different adverse conditions. In China and in Iran, we have differences of regional topographies, climate conditions, and water resources. And these are the driven forces for innovation and creativity, as I mentioned, in China and Iran. This is a very unique flood control system in Japan, and the samurai chief has exempted a few communities from taxes and brought them here. The responsibility is maintaining these dikes, and these dikes are still operating and they are good maintenance to this day. And these are creative method for construction of the dam in Iran. In narrow canyon, first they construct a brick arch and then construct the dam on the arch and the river flowing under the arch. So there was no need for diversion tunnels. In this way they could construct many dams, and it is a detention dam that has been copied in Japan, in a dam in Japan to strike a balance between flood control objectives and environmental objectives. When we have uncertainties, we should ensure resilience, and we have seen this kind of resilience in many hydraulic structures in many countries. This is a dam in China. They didn't construct this type of dam by using earth fill material or earth fill or rock fill because they didn't have resilience. But this type of material, masonry, was resistant to overtopping. And another point we have learned from Iranian canal is humans should adjust themselves to the water available and not the other way around. And we have still a lot of canals operating in Iran. And many cases in many countries are indicating that renewable energy is one of the most important pillars of sustainability. Netherlands, Iran, many other countries. Another point is rules and regulations. Starting from Hammurabi's code, rules and regulation, even not perfect, have played a key role in ensuring sustainability. Another important point is the importance of technology transfer, and it is interesting to note that in Japan, the priests have defined a mission for themselves to transfer new technology in water and agriculture, because they thought their main function is easing the suffering of the humankind, and this transfer of technology was in this concept. And another point is non-structural aspects. In order to use and manage water properly, not only hardware facilities, but also appropriate software distribution in terms of people's group and organization, including regimes and rule, is equally essential. This is a Canal Council organization chart in Iran, and there are many more lessons to be learned. I attached this PowerPoint, and I would like to hear from the members of the working group on their opinion on these lessons to finalize the publications. Finally, we should, besides finalizing this publication, we should enrich the working group websites, preparing a paper on the publication for our ID journal, and also organizing workshop on historical water sustainability. And finally, we should prepare a data bank of documentaries available on water history. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have a very fruitful meeting in Adelaide, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you as soon as possible.